Recording. All right. Welcome to the JSR meeting of April 17th, 2025. Today we'll be going through topics that were discussed last week, go through the issue tracker, and also do a quick walkthrough of the admin panel. And moderating some people that were selected for being external moderators. Yeah, I guess let's start with that actually. So I see we only have one of the moderators here, which is Doctor. Let me close that. Let me go to JSR.test. I'll be not using the live JSR.io because I don't want to show some things like user emails. I'd rather avoid that. So I'm using a local version that's connected to the live data, but not showing email addresses and other identifiable information in the recording. Yeah, so first off, let me quickly make you admin. So I believe I should be able to find you somewhere. Wasn't that? I'm misremembering your username now. Can you send me your username, Doctor? Even just in the meetings channel. So I was right with light. Doesn't find you. Oh, I guess it's using your actual name and not the username. Hey, Doctor, good point. Let's see. Looks like you, yes. All right. So already one first thing that I'm gonna show you is edit. So you can easily edit the users. And in this case, I'm gonna make you staff and submit, and that should just work. Yep. All right, so more about the admin panel is everything is sortable. Search works for every field, including emails. So if I do crawlcats@gmail.com, that should give my account. Well, I'm using another email account, I guess. But yeah, emails also search by. GitHub ID you can search by. Scope limit. Also, it's not searchable. Just user ID, username, GitHub ID, and email are searchable fields. That's for users. For scopes, we have all the scopes paginated. Also, you can modify these limits, and he usually would be able to see what the limits actually are applied, but it's currently bugged out and it's saying 0. That's something we need to fix. You can copy the creator ID. It's not showing the list of members yet, but that's the plan to add that. Packages, again, just a list of all the packages that are available on JSR and their repository, and some other information about it. It's archived or featured. Regarding featuring, if you want to feature a package, you have to go to the package, enable sudo, which you will see as a button then, and go to settings and then make featured down here. I will add a button here as well on the side to feature individual packages as well. And then publishing tasks, usually you will not worry about this whatsoever. This is usually always fine and good to ignore, but sometimes there's failures, and usually it's not our fault, but sometimes there's going to be problems that are related to us that probably people will open tickets about. So regarding tickets, here's a list of tickets. Usually it always says the username of the person that created the ticket, but I removed that for now for the preview. And yeah, you can see tickets, go into them, reply, just like we saw last week. You can also search by username, by any of the messages, by whatever, and sorting as well. Yeah. What else is there to talk about? Audit log. Yeah, that's probably important. So every action by every user that does some sort of action that changes behavior of anything is audit logged, including admins, any admin behavior. So anything that you do while using sudo will be logged. And you can see that I modified a few things here already using sudo. This is only recent changes as of yesterday or 2 days ago. Did we land the audit log? So yeah, but so we will see if any external moderators do anything that they shouldn't be doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So currently really the main task is taking care of any tickets if there are tickets, and we will still get emails in form of support tickets. We will be taking care of that ourselves directly, and hopefully it will fully migrate to be tickets based on the website. So we will make ingress of tickets, of emails that create new tickets automatically also be a feature at some point, but that's really just management for us moderators to make life easier, which is not the highest priority right now for JSR. And yeah, so you should have access. I'll also make admins the others. That should be, which is Canada Honk, and the other person is, let me double check. Yep. So all external moderators are now enabled, and you can also see everyone that is a moderator if you want. If you inverse sort by staff, you'll see that it's not that many. It's gonna be a bunch of the Dino people. Some of these don't even need to be, honestly, and the governance board, and the three of you now. And yeah, that's pretty much it about the admin panel. We currently are still thinking about adding some extra things for it just to make it nicer, especially on tickets, adding some more capabilities for admins to not have to go to the admin panel to do changes, but again, that's for later on. Any questions about the admin panel? Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, post it in the Discord channel for the moderators. And yeah, I'll see those and reply to any problems. And if you have any questions about anything else, also feel free. Okay. So that's that. Then last week we had talked about PMPM and Yarn supporting JSR, or rather how we can get them to do that. Well, we don't have to do anything because they already did it before we could ask or say anything, which is lovely. So they will be getting native JSR specifier support, which means that now you will be able to publish npm packages to npm that depend on JSR packages. You will not be able to use them using npm itself, only with PNPM and Yarn currently. But the plan is, given that PNPM and Yarn have both added or are adding this capability, that npm will follow suit at some point. Just seems because people will open issues towards npm CLI that some packages are not working, but they work fine with other systems. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so it seems that we will get native support, which is great and unblocks a lot of users and also package users, package publishers. So that's great. Um, does anyone have any other topics that would be wanted to be brought up before we go into the issue tracker? I'll take that as a no. Wonderful. So, let's go to the issue tracker. And actually, one thing I can show before is we did show this off earlier today in the Discord channel. That is download metrics being displayed in the dashboard, rather in the JSR website. And this is a really, really early prototype still. It's probably gonna get landed sometime end of this week, maybe next week. We'll see exactly when this lands. But yeah, the idea is to have on the versions page the download metrics, and also the idea might be that we add an npm style small above the fold. So if I go to npm and look like at Express, for example, there is this like small widget, and the idea is to potentially have something like this on the in the package header of individual packages, like maybe over here or something. Exactly, still to be thought out how we're gonna do that. But the idea is to have something above the fold, and then you can click on it and you get shown the full list of all the versions and the download metrics regarding the versions. Yes, exactly. Those were exactly our references, both npm for the small widget, but also our problem with the npm one is it's really difficult to find any useful information about this. Like you only see the numbers of weekly downloads, but you don't know anything about which versions, etc. Whereas with crates.io for reference, we can go here and you can see a breakdown of the versions, and you can also modify it a bit, but yeah, it gets a bit unreadable. But yeah, so we were inspired to have both features because why not? Yeah, we might also, we're considering to make it that you can select the range of the versions that are displayed. But for now, it's going to be really simple, showing the last 5 versions and an others field, just like here, that is everything before that as an aggregate. And that should cover that. It's been one of the most requested features we've had. And we have the information since a long time, so now it's really just a matter of displaying that. Now, right now, this shows day over day. I'm not too sure if that's the best approach. I mean, Crates.io does that, but npm does on a weekly basis, which makes bigger number nicer. So that's, I guess, the benefit, but also is that really necessary? So yeah, if you have any input on this, would be great to hear. Do you want to see weekly metrics? Do you want to see daily metrics? Maybe toggleable, I guess, and default to weekly. Of course, it is as well to smooth out the trend. Yeah, because obviously this this is very bumpy, and this is also very bumpy. So probably yes, we probably could should do that as at least as an option. I feel like that you can select which one you want to see, because the information is there. It's really just about displaying it, and putting a toggle for that is a 5-minute task. Sounds good. All right, then I'll do that. Not sure if this data is all the data we have, or this is just Apex Shorts trimming the data to what we have available. I hope it's the latter, and not that we missing data. I would be surprised, because if it's weekly, then yeah, we would obviously want to have more data points than just until January, which is like 3 months ago. But yeah, I'll dig into that and see. Year over year overview? Would it be useful? I guess so. Okay.
I use it. Yeah, I use it fairly often as a again, smoothing out the trend, right? Like a
Mhm.
lot of the longer just, longer time package ecosystems, um, if you look at weekly, like again, if you go back to Express, it looks super flat. But if you go to one of the other services, you can see that there is, I mean, you can see it slightly trimmed up, but that's a pretty meaningless number.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to look at these for which way is the ecosystem going, where like, for example, a lot of people use these kind of metrics for the ESM transition, right?
Hmm.
But,
Yeah.
that's not super meaningful over 3 months or however long, this covers. It's actually more meaningful over like a 5 year. So anyway,
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Uh, I feel like maybe year over year right now is not useful for JSR, but definitely we can add that. But I would say month over month probably would also be pretty good to have. Um, yeah, year over year. I mean,
yeah,
JSR.
totally hear you on that with it being new, but just making sure you
Yeah, no,
don't throw out the data.
yeah, no. Oh, we definitely don't throw out the data. I mean, also it's all stored in our database, which is then also all queried by Google BigQuery. So there's multiple sources for the data. I don't think any of the data is gonna be gone. I hope at least. If it's gone, then that's a big bug and a big problem. But yeah, overall, everything should be available. The npm data is not publicly available. Oh, interesting. Okay. So one piece of information we're not displaying in the graph right now is we have the information if it's gotten via npm, aka the JSR CLI, or PNPM or Yarn when they're going to use it, or if it's used by Dino itself directly, aka downloading the actual source code directly instead of the npm tarball. Not sure how we could display that and if we should display that really, especially since it's kind of conflicting information. Like we would have to have like more legend items which are split up by which service is using what. I don't feel like that's necessarily useful to show, but yeah, I'm not sure if there is any use case to see if it's npm or Dino being used. I mean, obviously, I can see package author wanting that information potentially, but I'm not sure. Well, we can always change this later on. The information and data is always there. So I would say, first off, let's get this landed, including the toggles for weekly and monthly, and also already implement yearly at this point. Maybe just disable it and not have it enabled yet at this point, but I'll have it there. And add a small widget for the other pages and clean this up a bit. I'm not the biggest fan of this UI, but yeah. All right. Any comments? No. Okay. Great. So let's go through the issues. We started going again through all the issues by oldest one. We always keep up with all the recent issues, but figures that we might just go all the way back to the oldest one. And well, the oldest one is what started us implementing this again. Might as well do that. So yeah, download metrics are going to be shown. Publish fix, we talked internally. We will do at some point, but it's lower priority. Lower priority as well. Dark theme, I worked on this yesterday. We probably can have a PR for dark mode ready tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Next week, I mean. It's not that quick. But yeah, we should have a first viable pass for dark mode by next week. Which hopefully will help a lot of people that keep asking about dark mode. I mean, I believe that issue is quite asked for. Yeah. So, yes. Um, email notification when a package is published to a scope the user is a member of. That is relatively tricky and involved. We definitely want to do that, but again, not a priority. Um, documentation, that just needs someone to actually write some documentation about this. This is a minor one as well. It's instead of actually launching the website when a version is already published, we should actually just give a separate error message. Useful, but relatively low priority as a P2. Allow inviting users to a scope with just an email. We were thinking about this, and we do want to add this, but it's slightly problematic because you can just spam through various emails, and that will send an email to the user, and then you can see also if the user is actually registered with that email address or not. So we have to make some aspects more secure in terms of data protection, that not like you can detect which emails are registered and which are not. That can get a whole set of problems, especially since we do not publicly display any user emails and we want to keep it that way. Yeah, dry run does not error about global augmentation. This needs to be done. It's just, yeah, problem with the CLI. Store license for packages. So currently license is enforced by the CLI, but we don't actually store the license information in the database to then somehow display on the website. And we do want to change that. So basically the idea would be detect the license file if there's one, or the license field in the JSR.json, and then store it in the database and display that on the website. So I guess like similar to here, that npm shows the license, or like crates.io shows the license here. Not too not rocket science, let's put it like that. Mirror synchronization capability is being worked on by a contributor. Store queries in files instead of writing them inline. That's more of an internal refactor, and we might not do this in the long run anyways, because how the way we're doing, we're moving away from some of the current behavior of internal queries, how we do them, but that shouldn't be, like, again, it's just a refactor, nothing major. Ability to link to repositories hosted outside of GitHub. So basically this gets tricky. Linking to a repository itself could be doable. We will have to see. We wouldn't be able to do OIDC verification though, which is not great. So being able to do OIDC verification would also then mean that for, like, let's say, take for example GitLab, we would need to be able to let you log in with GitLab accounts, and that is tricky. Currently everything relies on the fact that everything is GitHub. So yes, not exactly feasible currently, especially since we use your GitHub ID to make some API requests. For example, when I go to my user account, like this GitHub link is being generated on the fly using the GitHub ID that I have. That is my GitHub ID, and JSR just does a API call. Reason for is that usernames changed, so making this, like storing the actual username in the database, is not viable. And yeah, we cannot really use our own API key because it's rate limited, etc. So using the user API key is the only way to achieve this, which is not a problem. It's not like we spam APIs in the user stead. It's literally just this, and that's it. So yeah, for now that will not change. Then we have image JavaScript modules for browsers like ESM. This has been discussed a few times here in this meeting. Some point, once we get some costs being covered and more infrastructure around this is thought out, because this is a big black hole for any wallet, and a CDN has to be in front of it, so probably Cloudflare gets involved, but at this point it's unknown. Unexpected slow types seems like a bug with symbols. Something that will get fixed at some point. I think it's not the highest priority, but it's currently marked as P2. I feel like this could be P1 potentially, but also it's relatively simple. So, and not many users are gonna fall into that. So P2 is good enough. Built-in bundle phobia. So let me just take a look for example. So let's use the error usage of Express. Never use this, so I don't know. Yeah, not sure how exactly this works. But if I actually look up bundle phobia itself, and go for Express, this gives us more of a breakdown about bundle size, minified, etc. This, we do have the information about the file size of all the files. We could display that, but given that JSR is more on a file basis and not necessarily big bundles, I guess if you use npm slash JSR CLI slash pm and yarn, you still get tarballs, which we do know the size of. So I guess we could maybe display that in some way in the UI, but that would require some UI work on how to display that. So we would be open for that, but also relatively unnecessarily complicated. Well, not complicated, but also additional feature that we don't necessarily need.
Sorry, I'm not. Is there a raise hand feature in this?
No,
I didn't see
yeah,
it.
no, I don't think so. Probably
Okay.
should do that, but yeah, just feel free to talk. Stop me at any
Okay. I
time.
hope you don't mind that I just started talking. Yeah.
Yeah,
We have had this back and forth a bunch. So you were just using, Express as an example,
yeah,
view. And if you look at it, there's, a pretty drastic change there. And it is very highly questionably relevant when we're talking about certain ecosystems of packages.
mm-hmm.
So, somebody added the bundle phobia badge onto the README at one point. We ended up removing it because, you know, the in reality, this doesn't really matter for most projects.
Yes, I completely agree.
And so it sends a message to end users that may not be always accurate. Now, for browser things, totally. For if we want to, people want to talk about what the not just the package size is, but the size of the bundled code. That's great. For install times, that matters, right? And obviously, the bundle size does impact the install time, but not nearly as much as many other factors like the depth of the dependency tree, the transitives, all that stuff.
Yeah, and
And again,
also
they're
install time
related, but
does
it can.
also diverge by depending on which tool you use to download it, so it's not really easy to
Oh,
predict.
massively.
So
Yeah. And so this kind of stuff really to us, unlike the first project, has led us to take the opinion that this is a non-issue and that
mhm,
we should be educating users not to be looking at bundle size and to be looking at more applicable metrics.
yeah, I mean the
So, take it for
closest,
what you will.
yeah, the closest I mean to what like getting a breakdown of size of stuff. I mean you can go to, let's say this package. You can go to dependencies. I think it was, and yeah, see the dependency graph, and there it. Okay, for external dependencies, this doesn't have anything, but if I go to SCD HTTP, for example, and go to the dependencies, you can then see also the size of the external packages. Useful? I really don't think it's necessary, but people want it, so we just added that number there. But yeah, I completely agree with you that it doesn't really matter in the end, especially nowadays anymore. Like everything is minified, everything network speeds are so much faster than they were like 10 years ago. This really shouldn't matter anymore as much as it used to. Let's finish this page and then let's call it for the meeting. We're already slightly over time. Support runtime compat in JSR JSON. So we talked about this and we definitely want to do that. So you can specify, the idea is that you can specify it in the JSR.json. And if it's specified in the JSR.json, it will be the settings in the settings page will be grayed out. You cannot interact with them. So basically the idea is that the JSR.json data is higher priority than the manual settings. And if you want to use the manual settings again, you just delete the field from the JSR.json. The same thing will also be applied for description. So you'll be able to set a package description via the JSR.json, and then this will be grayed out if it's set via the JSR.json. Else you can set it manually. I think that's relatively reasonable approach. Yeah. Then add documentation regarding to self-hosting JSR. So yes, we do want to do this. We do want first to make it nicer to set up, to rather fully run a JSR instance yourself. Running locally, quite trivial, but setting up all the services, setting up Google Cloud, the metrics, all of that stuff is relatively involved, and we do want to just make it relatively trivial. So probably we'll just provide at some point some Docker image or something. You can just deploy, set a few envas with some settings, and call it a day. But overall, if you really want to run your own instance of JSR, you can already do that if you just follow the README instructions of running locally. And most of it applies exactly the same as a live instance. It's just some environmental settings are not set, like all the metrics, aggregation, etc., if you care about that, but else it works. And slow types, I guess, better detection for complex constants. It seems that David is assigned to it, so I guess he will work on that at some point. And I would like to continue on this, but I guess we're already on time. So basically the idea is that over the next few meetings, this list will shrink, obviously, and that we continue going through all the items here. And yeah, basically the idea is that over time we will have always on every meeting looking at the latest, newest issues and talking about them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any last minute topics that they want to bring up? Waiting for the chat. If this is off topic, I can ask them in another channel. But yesterday I wanted to create a scope, Nebula, but got an error stating that a scope with a very similar name already exists. I did not find what the criteria are. Is this public? Let me double check exactly the criteria. So this information, and this is in the code. So this is not exactly written down, I believe, in our docs, which we probably should do. But this is gonna be here. So hmm. There's somewhere. Okay, I'm not being able to find it right now from the looks of it. But yeah, there is a distance, like I believe, or if it's hash dashes and there's one that doesn't have dashes, that definitely will conflict. Yeah, I don't exactly know which scope it is that is conflicting with your scope. I wish I could give you more information about that, but it's not easily found. Manually at least. Maybe the error message should be improved to add that, but yeah. Yeah, sorry for not being able to help more with that. Anybody else? Any questions? If not, oh, well, great timing. We're about to stop the meeting. So, yeah, if there's no more questions or points, then I would call it here and we will reconvene in 2 weeks. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good one.